So that becomes a Moonwell, and the Shredder shows up. And Shredder's another really another really good point for Night Elf because it's the only really good mobile-based defense they have. Now, obviously, if an Archmage shows up with a bunch of Water Elementals and Footmen, you're still gonna lose the thing. But you can't get your Moonwells harassed this way by just 2 Footmen because Night Elf-based defense is not exceedingly mobile. So, small point. You see this guy has gotten a lot of mercenaries, and he's going to be using this to try to, buff up enough of an army to harass a lot. This guy's also blocked off his base and has built towers, so you can just see the general playstyle this guy is going for right now. He is very defensive, and he's going to be, reaping the benefits of his expansion later on. So, Soju, meanwhile, just creeping with his panda, and Demon Hunter's running around trying to harass. This is the one downside of not getting boots or a staff, is you will get owned by slow. And sure enough, he gets slowed and has to TP because he saw his opponent's army and thus had to die. Or town portal out. So, unfortunate purge there for Soju, loses the rejuvenation. But EXP Tome, level 3 Panda. Didn't really need the EXP Tome, but certainly, take it. And yeah, you see the Wisp scattered about, know what Sky's troop movements are. Detonates that because he has to. And now the Demon Hunter will sit with the Panda because he knows his opponent has slow and that's not going to be happy. So, well, another Wisp goes down. Somehow Sky manages to see it. Picks up Sappers, and that's going to be an interesting playstyle. You will notice that Soju is indeed getting Nature's Blessing. And it's kind of amazing the timing on this because it's going to finish before the Sappers show up. And really what this is about is, first of all, he has a ton of lumber because, he has a shredder. He's not spamming towers, so he has a lot of lumber. The second point is that your opponent is going to be trying to harass your crap and, Mortar or Mortar or Sapper bomb on your expansions, and it's really not happy. And so Soju's just saying, screw this, I want my stuff to survive, I need expansions. And really it is just an important point, it is something worth doing completely. And so, there's that. This guy is going to manage to lose his footman, he's going to try to let creeps kill it. Might not happen that way. And in fact it doesn't. So, again, we said that Hippogriff run over towards Sky's base. You see he's going double Sanctum, so we know what's going on there. Which means Soju does not have to spam Agents of War or Ancient Protectors, because he is not cheesing him, he's actually producing units. And the unfortunate thing about this is a lot of what Soju was doing early game. When your opponent goes for quote-unquote real units, heroes are the difference, because everyone can produce, both you and your opponent have 2 gold mines. This is an age-old battle of, human caster versus Night Elf, Baron, Dryad, but the only difference here is hero levels. Guess what? 4-1 loses to 4-3. Actually loses to 4-4. Holy crap. So I'm a little bit surprised that Soju's not town portaling here because it would think, or one would think that he would have to. Apparently not. So here's a Stormbolt, and here's a Surround. That kinda sucks for Soju. Somehow he doesn't die here, and I'm really not sure how. So he used the rest of the Moonwell. He just focuses down that Mountain King, and sure enough, a level 1 strength hero can die. And that's just all it took. When you've got these kind of items, yeah, Mountain King can die. So, a lot of this game was a bit of item luck for Soju. And yep, here comes Militia and Sappers. And guess what? Thanks Nature's Blessing, not gonna lose my Tree of Life. Pretty nice. So, there's that. He probably should have used the Sappers to blow up the Wisps that were repairing initially, but oh well. So, Soju squeaked by in that battle. A little unsafe, of course, but luckily it paid off. Really I don't know what to say about that except that Soju read the situation and decided that he was going to survive through it. I don't know what else to tell you other than that. I guess it worked out for him. But you're going to see that Sky's just going to go back for round 2, for round 3, basically until he gets knocked out and gets his ear bitten off. But the Mountain King is back, and the Dryads are focusing him, and he's not going anywhere. And Puck is doing what he can. He's probably cast Dream Coils, we can't get away. Oh well, whatever. Guess he wants to save the cooldown. Anyway, Ancient of Lore number 2 is getting focused down because he had to cancel 1, of course, from that earlier push. And again, it's just a Demon Hunter. And I guess what's happening is really his opponent only has 5 units with, well, 6 units with normal damage, and they're not even going for the Demon Hunter. So that's why I feel so confident in surviving. There's nothing that really has a lot of damage output against it. And so, sure enough, you just see a lot of Abolish Magic, and he's trying to get rid of the water metals for free experience, and indeed does get rid of the water metals for free experience. And maybe a Spellbreaker. Nope, not quite. Mountain King desperately trying to run away now, as he made his trek all the way up and now has to run his stubby little legs back. How unfortunate. Oh yeah, you're gone. So, Soju right now, his playstyle is just simply macro and response. He's not even trying to push his opponent. Most of the creeps have been crept out of the map by now, but the few that are left, he is trying to take. But mostly he's just noticing his opponent running around towards his base, and he's trying to defend against it. And both players managed to get sentry wards, which makes a pretty big impact on the playstyle of this game, of course. Soju can see when his opponent is attacking both his expansion and his main for the next while, and he's actually going to end this game before the sentry wards run out. So, big part of the game. But I mean, another thing you could just simply do is root your Ancient of War that you had used from the early game. Keep it alive, then have it at one of the choke points. Either you get free shots in your opponent and you see him every time, or it takes the time to kill it, which gives you time to defend yourself. Another option is just to use Wisps or that Hippogriff, or, there's plenty of options. And especially once you have Ultra Vision, you can basically sit a Hippogriff above the water and see all the way down on, the ways over. So, pretty easy stuff there. The Panda is getting burned by the tower. He did use at least one Breath of Fire, damaging some stuff. Getting himself up to level 5, which is pretty sweet. And, I mean, really now it's just a Demon Hunter wreaking havoc all over his base. There's just not a lot that Sky can do anymore about this. The army's just too big, he didn't harass well enough, and, lots of reasons, basically. So, Panda coming in here, there's the Breath of Fire, that will burn down. And yeah, I mean, it's just ending at this point. This game is pretty over. There's really no powerful enough heroes alive. The Archmage just is only level 4, so goodbye there. And he's just inside his base killing everything and even staffing home the low units. So basically, this was just a lot of really good playstyle. The early game harassment managed to get him quite a bit of advantage. He got a couple of hero kills and what have you. And now this Demon Hunter's just getting rejuved, and it's like, oh, yeah, nice try there. But, thankfully his opponent doesn't have much masonry, so towers die and archmages die, and this was game 1. I think it's funny that Sky picks Melting Valley and says, alright, you vetoed the Lost Temple, right? Okay, yeah, then Melting Valley. I mean, he just knows that no one likes to play LT. So, yeah, I mean, there's not a lot I can say that I haven't really been repeating. He has a very specific build order for early to mid game. Getting the expansion, getting the Hunter's Hall, and the fast wind is very important because it stops that whole mid game Zeppelin harass, and it's really crucial that you are able to stop that. And I can't really repeat that enough. It is crucial that you are able to stop the Zeppelin harass, because you'll be stuck in your base for half an hour while your opponent tries to macro up his army. It's important. Your opponent's going to spend 260 gold on that Zeppelin. You can spend about 300 gold to get the wind and the Hippogriff. And you have the ability to get Fairy Dragons for the rest of the game. So, there's a lot going on that's available. Anyway, I believe that's going to end the point. I'm not sure what else to say. So I will leave you with just try to play like Soju. The early game build order, the extended harassment through mid game, and just the reactionary playstyle up until he got roughly 80 food. I mean, he'd creep when he could, and then the Demon Hunter was all up on the human army when he had to, and then he could run over and defend himself. So that's the playstyle. Thank you for listening, and goodbye.